Welcome back to the GT Hockey Summer Series, where we look ahead to the 25-26 season by catching up with some Georgia Tech players and hearing stories from the year that was. Joining us today is Jack Gawlik, number 25, who just finished up his second year at GT. Jack, how are you doing?
Doing well, Sterling. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you so much for joining us here. Third episode of the summer series. And so let's get right into it by talking about this past 24-25 campaign. In particular, I wanted to start off by discussing that Kennesaw State series. Going into that weekend, the team was still looking for its first win of the season, and game one was a close one, but fell again to Kennesaw State 6-3. The following night, though, would be that first win of the season, and leading the charge, so to speak, would be a hat trick by you. A couple goals late in that third period gave Georgia Tech the victory. What in particular do you remember about that game, getting that first win of the season?
Yeah, anytime you go around a month or so into the season without a win, you're really itching to get one. So that weekend, we knew what we had to do to get the job done. Those were games that we felt pretty confident going into. Unfortunately, we fell short the first night, but the second night, I think we loosened up a bit and we were able to get the job done. So that was exciting, especially because a lot of the freshmen, obviously, they hadn't had a win yet. So being able to do that was huge for the team, get us going for the rest of the year.
Definitely. And that previous night, even though that was a loss, it was a big night for the team. Stephen Howe getting his first goal of his career. What did that feel like for you?
That was one of my favorite and most memorable moments from the season. He's my roommate. I roomed with him last year, roomed with him this year. We actually met at a hockey event, or he watched me play in a hockey event prior to going to college, but we didn't know each other. So we've had a good friendship going back over 2 years now. So watching him score coming down the right side of the ice, going to the middle and putting it in the net. I think he got a pass in the slot or whatever it was. It was just incredible to watch. I was super thrilled for him. I mean, obviously we didn't get the job done, but if there's one positive from that night, it was watching him get to score his first goal.
That's amazing. And you followed it up with a goal of your own that game. Was that a fun conversation after that game, even though it was a loss?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't so memorable for me, but I was having trouble scoring going into this series. I remember I had maybe a goal. But being able to get the second goal was pretty nice. And obviously the next day adding a few more. That was a nice touch. I think our biggest problem up until that point was really finishing games. I know against the UCF series or when we played against UCF, we had a couple sprints where we put in the puck in the back of the net a couple times, but we weren't able to finish. So going into the Kennesaw weekend, being able to, put the puck in the net a couple times the first night, have Steven get his first goal, that was great. And then the second night, being able to finish strong, I think was pretty important for us.
Fantastic. So, moving on a little bit later in that fall semester, one of the most anticipated games of the season, of course, Clean Old Fashioned Hate. The final game of the fall semester started with a crazy back and forth first period, and a period in which you scored two goals, including a 1-0 goal, under 2 minutes into the game. It was a wild atmosphere for such a heated rivalry. And what was that like, your first experience playing in Clean Old Fashioned Hate at home?
I didn't realize that was the first time at home. Yeah, that was definitely a memorable night. I think it was very important for, I guess, building the team environment, even though we took a pretty bad beating, unfortunately. We did come out strong. I think we proved that to ourselves, most importantly, that we were able to hang with anybody, regardless of the Division One, Division Two thing, or whatever our record said. Just being able to go out there with fresh legs and prove that, like, when we're at our top, we're really good. I think that was important to prove to one another and to ourselves. Yeah, I think I got two back-to-back goals. I was in the right place at the right time. My line did all the work. I just had to sit there and not mess up. So that felt pretty good. Definitely one of the my top moments, I guess, of the year. Just being able to celebrate with those guys, going to the glass, falling over, unfortunately. But yeah, those celebrating like that with your teammates in front of a home crowd who pays, you know, 20, $30 to get all the way there, and then just shaking hands with your teammates is a great feeling. Even we were up by a goal, I think, so that added to it, that made it pretty joyous. Obviously, I guess it was pretty nice to score the goal, but there were a couple of goals. But in the back of my mind, I was really just thinking about the rest of the game, what we need to do defensively, which we could work on. But there's a lot of great memories from that first period. Moving on in the game, the second period didn't look so hot for us. I think we took off the gas pedal a little bit, unfortunately. So that ultimately, I think, led to our demise. But the third period. I had to make an early departure, but at least I got to watch from the stands Charles Romine, one of my best friends at school. He got his first goal of his GT hockey career. So watching him get his first goal against a team like UGA, the biggest rivalry we have, in a packed out Atlanta ice for him, that was, along with watching Steven get his first goal, that was that was one of my most memorable moments up until that point of the year.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I guess no matter the score, there's still plenty of opportunities to create pretty special moments. You touched briefly on the atmosphere for that kind of game. And as a player in matchups like our home opener against Florida State and then that UGA game in the fall, does it make any difference kind of the way you play or being able to sustain energy longer? Is it kind of a real thing, the ability to feed off a crowd like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think in one aspect it does add a little bit of pressure because, of course, it's kind of like, oh, people are taking the time out of their Friday night or Saturday night, whatever the case may be, to come watch us play. We're all really busy, schoolwork and then having fun, socializing. So, understanding kind of the importance of being able to go out there and do your best for all the people that go to your school, representing the logo on your jersey, that's pretty important to the team, I think. So that adds a bit of a layer of pressure, I'd say. But most importantly, I think we all do this to have fun. So it's a way to relieve our stress, get away from the classroom for a little bit, our projects, research, whatever it is. So I think having that just kind of at the forefront of your mind, just play loose, play relaxed, just enjoy it. I think it helps you to um, really focus on just having fun, using the energy that the fans bring, and with the Rambling Wreck and the band there, it was a great atmosphere of school spirit, and it's just incredible. So I can't wait until next year where we can play under those conditions again.
Yes, definitely. We had a similar type of atmosphere the following home series against Clemson, and then after that, it was an away weekend at the University of Tennessee. And one of the most intense games came that weekend. Game number two was a 6-5 game with the Volunteers. You were able to record a couple of assists, but that was an unbelievable back and forth game. A couple of times Tennessee took the lead, only for Tech to respond just seconds later. What do you remember about that matchup? What was it like to play in that game?
Well, first, not to gloss over Clemson here, I do recall Eli Rubin getting his first goal, and that was pretty great. He was in front of a lot of his fraternity brothers, so that was a great moment for him. Um, and then against Tennessee, their rink was really, really pretty sweet, I think. I think there's a semi-professional team that played there, so we were able to kind of sneak in before to get dressed for our game while their game was going on. So being able to play in that wooden arena was pretty sweet. The first night, I don't remember too much. I know we kept it close. We were neck and neck with them. Most of my memories from that weekend come from the second night. Obviously, we went to overtime with a very good Tennessee team. I remember Paul Molnar and Ethan Molnar. They both had a phenomenal game. I think just both games back to back. So I love those guys. It's such a fun time whenever I'm able to be with them on the ice, off the ice. But on the ice that weekend, they were the difference makers, and they did a great job. So.
You talked a little bit about the circumstances. It was a beautiful arena, and yes, it was kind of a rush. I remember that first night with the professional game going on. I mean, what was that like on your end? Because for me, getting set up for the broadcast, I had pretty much 15 minutes to enter the rink and set everything up. What was that like for you? like trying to warm up and get ready for the game.
Yeah, I remember that. Obviously driving, what was it, 4 or 5 hours isn't a great way to start the day when you have a game against a team like that. Um, but I mean, whatever, it happens. We get there, we're outside, like, oh, you can't go in until X amount of minutes before the game starts. So we're out there, I don't know, doing Frankenstein kicks, running. Some of us, I was eating a banana, I think, getting laughed at by some people. But no, I mean, obviously it's not ideal when you have to go into a game 20 or the rink 20 minutes before puck drop, but I think moments like that really just that's what you remember. You're obviously going to face adversity, but you kind of just have to have fun with it, and that's what we did. I think I was
Yeah.
more nervous for you getting set up than I was myself getting ready for the game. I remember you were texting me, and I think we drove there together probably or something like that. We were in touch, and obviously you do a lot of work for us during the game, and it's a pretty big setup, and you take on the responsibility with such grace that I can't imagine having to put all that together in 15 minutes, but you did it. So, uh, yeah, I was just fine getting ready, I think.
Yeah, thank you. And for everybody who watched those games, of course, it's not super ideal sometimes when the team's on the road having those late night matchups. But for everyone who stuck around and watched those games, thank you so much. It means a ton to the team. So after that Tennessee weekend was a huge matchup that we've talked about on the two previous episodes of this series, but that Vanderbilt weekend was really huge for the team. And so, just to bring it up a little bit again, game number one went to Vanderbilt, and that game determined that they clinched the CHS playoffs. And so, for game number two, there wasn't too much on the line in terms of playoff implications, but you want to keep going strong, both for nationals and for also just team pride. And so, what was that game like? You were able to record your second hat trick of the season. What was the vibe of the team, pretty much? And what was it like just playing in that game at the Cooler?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it had to do with the first night. It was pretty much just polar opposite. Just the games completely contradicted each other as far as the locker room, the vibe in the locker room was. I know the first night we were some of us were scrambling because, being a student-led team, we're responsible for figuring out ice and travel and everything. We didn't know what our playoff situation was going to look like, nationals or the CHS playoffs. So I think we kind of jumped the gun there talking about the playoffs before, we had a guaranteed spot. There's just a lot of tension, I guess, in that regard. Vanderbilt played a great game that night. They beat us, and then that kind of uh, that was too bad, but it took a lot of pressure off us going to the second game. So I think just arriving to the rink, everyone was just kind of having a good time. We were warming up together as a team, and it was just positive energy all around. Kind of reminded you just why you joined the team in the first place to go out there and have fun. And really, in my experience, anytime you're playing loose, whenever you're not putting that added pressure on yourself for no reason, you tend to play better. So. I think going into that second game, that was kind of our mindset. Just go out there, play for each other, have fun. Now that nothing's on the line, we really have nothing to lose. So might as well just go out there and be creative and have fun with it, have fun with each other. So, it was a great time. I know Patrick Sharp, my good friend, and I before the game, we shared just a happy moment in warm-ups, just messing around. So, those it's things like that you remember. Yeah, and we were able to put the puck in the net a couple of times. Jake Kotzian had a pretty sweet goal. Um, yeah, it was just a good time.
Yeah, that definitely. It seemed like everyone was just playing loose and having fun, which was really great to see. And that weekend, also, the team received the news that they would be going on to the AAU National Tournament, but not before one last regular season matchup, again against the University of Georgia. This one coming from Gas South Arena. And so you had your third goal of that clean old fashioned hate series, but it was your first time playing at Gas South, as we'll talk a little bit about in a little bit. You joined the team last year in the middle of the year, right after the Gas South game. So, for your first experience there, what was it like playing in that ECHL rink?
Yeah, I've played in an ECHL rink back at home, I think. Uh, the Chicago Express, they went out of business probably 8 or 10 years ago now. But obviously, regardless if it's ECHL, AHL, NHL, whatever the arena is, playing in a place like that's always great. Um, just the locker room, and you literally just kind of live like what the players do, except for the whatever the perks of the food and whatever. But the ice was great. It was a really nice stadium. So being able to play there was a great experience. And obviously, we played of all the three games we played against UGA, that was definitely our best. So that added to it. It was a pretty happy time. I remember just kind of as the game progresses, you kind of get it through your head that this is the last time your seniors will be playing at home. We weren't too sure what the future of the season was going to look like. I mean, of course, the national tournament, but other than that, we really weren't going to play at home anymore. So, um, it kind of starts to make you really want to play for the seniors you have. And then Paul Molnar he scored a goal. I remember that he came down the slot, or I think I had the puck in the slot, turned it over, but we don't have to say it turned over. I passed it to him. He ended up getting the puck after I lost it, and he put it in the back of the net. And I remember he crawled around by the glass, and I was really excited for him to have him score in his last game. That was a pretty cool moment. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So that concluded the regular season and then a trip to Jacksonville for the national tournament. As we've spoken about on the previous two episodes, the first game against High Point was not the best performance, but the team was able to follow it up with a big win against the number 8 Penn State Harrisburg team. And so that left the team with some hope going into their third and final pool matchup against the University of Miami. Once again, Tech was number 18 ranked, Miami number 13. What was that game like for you? You were able to score the game-winning goal there to make it 3-0. What was that experience like knowing maybe we can compete and advance to the next round?
Yeah, I mean, I think just going into this whole nationals thing and how things unfolded, we really, I don't think anyone expected much out of us. Some could say we were meant to be there, but I beg to differ. We almost made it out of pool play. We played pretty well, except for the High Point game. Two pretty big upsets that were posted on Hockey House Pod, so that was pretty cool. No, the whole weekend was just very memorable. I remember I went home for 2 days during spring break and flew right back to Atlanta. And we drove down together. I drove the trailer. Uh, got got made fun of for that, but we made it there safe and sound. So, yeah, we went to the beach. I know after the second game because we played earlier in the day. All sunburned going into the Miami game, and obviously going into the game, we weren't positive what our fate was, but we knew we controlled our own destiny. I think we ended up losing on the goals against tiebreaker or something, but once again, that's something we control entirely. We weren't begging on another team to, score 30 goals and then this other team to get less than 17 penalty minutes or whatever it was. So, in that sense, it was kind of reassuring. We went in, I mean, we won the game. Unfortunately, throughout the whole weekend, we let up too many goals, but I know during that game, it was just we knew it could have been our last hurrah, but we also knew we could have kept advancing. So I think we just decided to play in the moment, really, just and take it all and enjoy it because obviously it ended up being our last game. But just knowing that, just play for each other, have fun. Yeah, it was a fun game. So
Yeah, and it was a great way, even though the tiebreaker didn't work out in Tech's favor, I think it was a great way to set the tone for next season coming off of two really nice upset wins. So that was, I guess, this past season in a nutshell a little bit. Do you want to talk a little about your time in high school and how you realized you could join the team at Georgia Tech?
so I'm from just outside of Chicago, so hockey's a lot bigger up there than it is down south in Atlanta or in the entire Southeast. Um, So it's really entirely different. Our practice schedules are different. Our workouts, I think, are different. The level of competition is a bit different, I think. There's a lot more teams. There's a lot more, I guess, condensed talent. You don't have to go as far to find another team. I did play Central States my senior year, so that was a bit more competitive. Our team was top 5 in the country all year, actually. So my role on that team was completely different than what it was when I went to college. But yeah, it was club hockey and it was for fun, but we also took it pretty seriously, traveling all over the place. We ended up actually making the national tournament there as well, my senior year. We made it. We played the first game, lost, and and then we won the rest of our games until the national championship. And that was kind of a lesson, I guess, that I tried to, get through to our team this past year at nationals after we lost the first game. That hey, even if you lose the first game in the national tournament, it's not the end of the world. Things happen. You can keep advancing. And I think the team, I don't know if they listened to me or not, but I think what ended up happening was proof that hey, anything can happen. But no, back to my high school experience. Yeah, the season, I mean, it went from what, August until April. So it was pretty long with the national tournament. Great experience, great time. Um, the national final, that's when my roommate, Stephen Howe, he was watching our team play because his team was also there. Um, and we didn't know each other at the time, but then I think a month or so later, he reached out to me on Instagram when he saw that I was going to Tech, and well, that's how we met, and we've been roommates since. So it was a pretty good experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you joined the team midway through the 23-24 season. So what was that process like for you getting to college and then finding out, hey, maybe this is something you wanted to do?
Yeah, sorry, I got carried away. Forgot to answer that part of the question. No, no. So, going into Tech, I knew there was a team. I know my coach my senior year saw the Ribeiro jerseys from the Savannah tournament the year before and showed me on the ice. This is before I got in, I think, and he was like, "You've got to go here." I'm like, yeah, I gotta get in. That's pretty hard to do. But yeah, they were pretty cool white honeycomb jerseys. I remember. Sad I don't have my own, but yeah, my mom, I think she was doing some research and she noticed there's a Patrick Sharp that wore number 10. And Patrick Sharp is one of my mom's favorite players because, being from Chicago, my mom was a huge fan. The whole family is. So, the whole 2010s, the Hawks won three cups. Patrick Sharp, not our Patrick Sharp, that Patrick Sharp, he's a big part of that. So, she was excited about it. I was excited to play, but I didn't think I was going to because I was concerned that with the course load and everything, I would be, too busy or whatnot to be able to play. So I think a week or two early to school just to get settled in, and I ended up skating at the prospect seat with Coach Roberts. He watched, I think Steve and I, we went together, both kind of in the same boat. Like, we're gonna try it out, but we don't think we're gonna play. He said pretty much that whenever I wanted to join, I could. So he ended up getting, I had my name printed for my locker stall, even though I wasn't even on the team. So, little things like that, I think I added up, and
Yeah.
uh, one domino fell and the next fell. So one thing led to another, and sure as heck, I ended up on the team with Steven. Um, I texted coach, I think the week after or the week before Thanksgiving break. I think it was the week after. And I said, "Hey coach, I'm kind of itching to play again." So he said, "Great, I won't be at practice this week, but you can come out." And sure enough, I went out. I practiced. Coach didn't see me practice at all, but then he let me play that first weekend against Oklahoma State. So I remember just, you know, vigorously using the treadmill and the bike to try and get back in shape that week. I went to the game, didn't really know anyone, but Colin Chambliss and Patrick Sharp said I was going to be on their line, and they were really excited. So that made me excited. And, I played that first game, first shift. Keegan scored off of my pass, so I had an assist that first shift. That was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, I'm really glad I joined. It's a great way to relieve stress. Anyone that's looking to play sport at any level in college, intramural, club, whatever it is, I'd highly recommend it. I mean, obviously it varies based on the time commitment, but at least for me, it's a great way to kind of just get away from everything for a couple of hours each week and just do what you love, and then go back and continue the work.
Yeah. And we talked a bit about from this past year the Tennessee game, game number two, but that Oklahoma State game was a pretty wild one for your first ever collegiate game. Aside from that one, what are some of your favorite memories from that 23-24 season?
That Oklahoma State game was definitely memorable. I still kind of feel bad that we lost that game because I was out there when they scored in overtime. But uh, yeah, I mean, I was in the wrong colored helmet and everything. It was a whole deal, but that was fun. I'd have to say that South Carolina series was also, well, let's crawl before we walk. The Savannah game was amazing. That was just spectacular. That's kind of the biggest one of the biggest moments of the year, I think, at least for the or the club, going out there and having all those people watch. Because I mean, it's more important than just us getting that experience. I think it's a lot more about expanding the game because, even though we play at the club level, I think there really isn't that much game down there as far as hockey goes. So being able to kind of expand the game like that and play that role is kind of something I never expected to fall upon me, but I guess, being a little bit of a part of that is pretty cool. And then the South Carolina series was, I think, my first real away, I guess, kind of trip. I know I drove with Cole Fitzhenry in the back of his car. Me, Cole, Zach, Colin, and I, we drove there. Um, the arena was unlike anything that I ever expected. I think it may have been their senior night, I'm not sure, but regardless, it was just a packed arena, people screaming, yelling, all sorts of people just really into it, and I did not expect that whatsoever. So, we're getting heckled, getting on and off the ice. Which, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I could take it, but to be honest, skating around, it was like, wow, these people really are ride or die for this team. So I ended up getting my first goal of college club hockey that game. So and that was a great memory. But I know they were a great team and they beat us the first night. But and another memory I have from that night is Keegan Goodell doing his thermodynamics homework in the locker room between periods. And I'm still new to the team at this point, so it was kind of like, wow, this is what it's about. But the second night, the eventual Division One national championships for AAU at least, or champions, we ended up defeating them the second night. I scored my second goal that night. I remember I got hit pretty hard a couple times, but being able to win on their ice in front of their crowd was our villain story kind of coming to fruition, and that was a pretty sweet feeling and a pretty good drive home.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing memory taking them down. And pretty remarkable overall, I guess, first couple of seasons with the team. Just to end things off, kind of from the past episodes as well, asking the players a little bit about some of their favorite NHL players, anyone who might have inspired you in terms of your actual game or just someone you like watching, and if you have any story about why you picked number 25 as your jersey number, or just in Andy's case, how you received such a number like that. Anything like that, we'd be interested in hearing.
Ooh, okay. Favorite player? I think Patrick Kane is a typical Chicago boy answer to this question. Just growing up the time I did, I started playing after watching the 2010 Olympics. Um, and I think just being able to watch the Blackhawks play at that time with Patrick Kane being their top producer. My grandma, she always loved watching the Blackhawks, and he was her favorite player. So Kane is definitely up there. I loved watching Jomerson play. I think at the time I didn't really appreciate it, but now I do, just how tough he was. Duncan Keith as well, recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was, a great defensive player to have on our side. So those three guys really stand out. Right now, I like watching Connor Bedard. He's amazing. So, yeah, 25. My first number in hockey was four because that was what was available when I was six or whatever. And then I picked number 50 actually. I was number 50 from the time I was six or seven until 2 years ago. So when I was 18, graduated high school. I think my dad kind of was like, oh, he thought it was a cool number because it's halfway between 0 and 100 or whatever. I don't know. He thought it was a cool number for me to have. And of course, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. So I was number 50. Couple issues, I think, or at least one. It's typically a goalie number, but I was able to get by with it. So when I went to college, I don't know if 50 was available or not, but kind of made sense to me to go stick with it and divide it by two, I guess, keep number 25. So I think I'll stick with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just to end things off, do you have any kind of message for the fans looking ahead to this upcoming season?
Yeah, you guys are just as much part of this team as we are. Come out, come have some fun. I think we're going to be putting some things together to get you guys out there because the rink's a bit of a haul, but I've never met anyone who's regretted going. So it's a great time, and if you can't be there in person, watch Sterling's broadcast. He does an amazing job. Everything you see is completely him. He brought our program, our broadcasting from zero to infinity in the past, 9 months. So kudos to him, all the hard work he does, he puts in, all of the managers really, but special shout out to Sterling for all the hard work he's doing. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Jack. And thank you everyone for always supporting us and watching this video. And yeah, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.